Good evening, it's Monday night, it's the Leicester City Fanzone Show right here on Leicester Fan TV. My name is Phil and welcome to this evening show. I am sure it is going to be full of chit chat, full of comment, full of your views. If you comment on this, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, the Facebook group or YouTube, anywhere, we can put your comments on screen now. We want your views. If you want to take it down, whatever conversation you want to talk about, you can do that. I'm going to set out a few things on screen now that I think you'll want to talk about. One of them is to talk about Harvey Barnes. I think we have to talk about Perez a little bit. Some fans seem to say he's amazeballs, and other fans seem a little bit disappointed with Perez at times. And I'm going to want to talk about Mark Albrighton because I want to know why he doesn't play, why he doesn't start, why he doesn't come on even as a sub when I think we do. So I want to talk about Mark Albrighton. You guys might want to talk about Harvey Barnes. You might want to talk about Perez. Put in the comments, and I'm sure some of you want to talk about what do we do with Ben Chilwell. There's rumours that Chelsea might want to come in and buy him for £60 million. There's rumours that Leicester might want to go and buy Luke Shaw from Man United. They were all just rumours, but you might want to talk about that, so get your comments in. Next big topic, look, let's look forward. Let's try not to dwell too much on Southampton. Who should start at Burnley? Hamza Chowdhury not had his finest game on Saturday. Do we pull in Pape Mende or do we stick with Hamza? There's a conversation for you. What do we do with Yuri Tielemans? Does he start or not? Demarai Gray, we want to talk about that. And whatever you want to talk about. The final thing I think you'll want to talk about is perhaps the lack of transfer rumours and gossip. Do we need to strengthen if we want to cement this top 4 Champions League spot? But listen, this is your show. We put on your comments. We've put out a link if you want to dial in, if you want to come in on video chat. So hopefully a few fans will be joining us. Welcome to them if you want to. Biggest thing is to get your comments in. As soon as you get a comment in, like this, good evening, Steve Larkin. I can put your comment on the screen, so get them in there. Dave Felstead says he would sell Ben Chilwell for £60 million. John Squire says get Magic Mendy in. Susan Elliott, good evening to you. How are you? I can even get people's pictures in now. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV, Susan Elliott. Good to see you. David Hart is saying I would sell him. Talking about Ben Chilwell. John Squires is just saying, listen, I think we need to drop Ben Chilwell. And Ian Miles is saying, nice picture of a fox there, Ian, says, we missed Wilf so badly. If you're watching over on YouTube, like LCFC Boyer is, don't forget to go and follow Anthony at his YouTube account. Demarai Gray needs to start, in my opinion, says Anthony. I disagree with you there, Anthony. I don't see enough from Demarai Gray to get him a start. I am going to say it continually probably through this because I'm a massive Mark Albrighton fan, and one of the things I think we were lacking slightly, and I know Tom's going to join us shortly via video chat, one of the things I think we're lacking a little bit at the moment is a bit of a calming down older head experience in that team. We've got Vardy, we've got Casper, they're at either ends of the pitch. I think we need something a little bit more in the middle, calming things down a little bit. So good evening to Craig Jones. What is that photo, Craig? I really shouldn't ask. Chris Hodges says, I'd get Albrighton in ASAP. I would as well. That would be me. If you can like and share this video, thank you so much. That would be great. Richard Field says, we're badly missing Ndidi. Do you agree with Richard? He certainly did. Hamza did look a little bit out of his depth there on Saturday at times. I'm not going to criticise Hamza too much. I don't think he was the worst of the lot. John Squires is asking, are we extending the ground or not? Probably something to chat more about, John, in the close season. But the news we've had from the club is, yes, that is happening. It should be open within 2 years. Jack is saying we need another winger. I'm not sure, Jack, about that. I know a lot of Leicester fans say we need a winger. I don't know we have. We've got Harvey Barnes, we've got Demarai Gray, we've got Mark Albrighton, we've got Perez. Haven't we got enough wingers? You know who I'm going to say I think we need? I think we need some composure in the middle of the park, an older head, and I think we need a striker. I really do. I didn't see much from Jamie Vardy on Saturday. I don't like to criticise him. Craig Jones says that was one of his picks. Well, hello to your picks. His name is Saucy. I'm sure it is. A bit of applesauce with him. We're missing Wilf, says Dave Felstead. A lot of you saying that. And keep getting those comments in. Ben Jackson, good evening, Ben, says get James Justin in for Chilwell. That's certainly an option. James Justin played a lot of last season for Luton Town at left back, so he certainly could be an option to get in there. Rob Prezier says Albrighton won't start. His major asset is his crossing ability, and Rodgers classes crosses as a 50-50 ball. I understand that, Rob. I think you're right. I don't think Mark Albrighton will start, but he does offer consistency. We gave the ball away 60 times on Saturday. 60 times, I believe. I don't even know if that was in the first half or what, but keep getting your views in. Keep getting your comments in. Please like and share this video wherever you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. I'm going to shut up and get Mr. Tom in. Good evening, Tom.
Evening, Phil. Evening, everyone.
Where do we start, Tom? We've got to look back to Southampton, Tom. Where do you start with that?
Well, we were chatting before, Phil, and I'll go through a few bits. I put it on Twitter yesterday, and I got a few good reactions back from it. I mean, too many kids. Simple as that. Out of the 18 matchday squad, Soinchu 23, Chilwell 23, Chowdhury 22, Maddison 23, Barnes 22, Gray 23, Justin 21, Benkovic 22, Nacho 23, and Tillemans 22. If you add Ndini into that lineup as well, 22. There's too many kids. And I think at the weekend we saw men versus boys. And when too many boys don't turn up to play a game, it costs you. And I think if you look at it, the ones who didn't really turn up, the ones who did play well, Casper for me was up there with man of the match. 2 great saves in the first half and another one to deny Ings. I thought Soinchu and Evans didn't play too bad in the middle of the park, in the central half defence with Ricardo and Wright. Chilwell was non-existent, but if I'm honest with you, I thought Barnes made him look bad by the amount of times that Barnes made the wrong run and Chilwell looked up for him and he'd gone by the time he played the ball.
David,
sorry, mate.
I was going to say, David Hart's put it on the screen. He said we gave the ball 60 times away. I think in the first half, Chilwell was responsible for 30 of them. I don't think Chilwell was responsible for 30 of them. He didn't have a good game, bless him, did he?
No, I mean, like I was saying, I think Barnes didn't help the situation with him. And Barnes made so many terrible decisions when making runs and not giving, an easy option for him. Centre of the part, I didn't think Maddison had a great game at all. I didn't think he offered anything in there. I thought Dennis Pratt was brilliant. I thought he won the ball back fantastically. His work rate equaled his goal. He was the first one to make that run. As soon as that ball went forward to Vardy, he was off. He gets in the box. Chowdhury, what can you say? It wasn't his day, really. We all called for him to come into the team, and sadly it didn't really happen. Perez, again, looked lightweight, but I have to give him credit because to set the goal up, it was quick thinking of it on his part to take the quick kick and get Vardy in and away, but really didn't offer that much after that. And what can you say for Vardy he was left starving in any service, really, to create much opportunities. But we'll go back to the point I was making to you earlier, Phil. My biggest concern wasn't about the performance, wasn't about how we gave the ball away or, the mistakes. It was the crowd getting on players' backs. And it weren't just one or two. There was large sections that we did it against Villa as well. I noticed it against Villa when we weren't making it across into the box or we were going backwards. The groans. We know how we play now for Leicester fans. We play with the ball and we pass it around. It isn't sometimes the most exciting, thing to watch. But it doesn't help when you've got people groaning when Chilwell makes a mistake. The bloke behind me, I gave him a mouthful at the weekend for groaning because I was sick of it every 5 minutes. Oh, he's giving it away again, standing up and shouting. I turned around and said, he's 23, sorry. What are you doing to his confidence by shouting and screaming at a player? I understand criticism, and that's what we've got Twitter and Facebook, and we all can have a debate if we want him gone or we want to keep him, if he's played well or he's played bad. But don't do it in the ground. It's the same with Tillemans. These are young men who are trying to get their trade, who have got some good talent behind them. Chilwell isn't a bad player. We can see that since probably the Man City game where Morris taught him a few lessons he needs to learn to defend first and, bombing forward. His confidence has been shot. For me, going to Burnley, automatically, I'd give him a rest and put Fuchs into that play, get a bit of experience in the team, what you're talking about, Phil. And same with Harvey Barnes. I love Harvey, and I think, we can see what he can offer when he can run at people and go past them. But his confidence at the moment isn't there. And again, I'd bring Albrighton into that squad and just strengthen up the left-hand side. If I look at Southampton, from that 9-0 thrashing of them to the 2-1 win for them at the weekend, what they've done differently, they went back to basics. They went back to 4-4-2, what they weren't playing before. They were playing a 4-2-3-1 and trying to be passy-passy. They've gone back to high press. They got it spot on with us, pressed us and made us looking into mistakes. Maybe it's something that we need to do a little bit more. Just go back to a bit more basic game. Keep the ball, keep the ball because that's Rodgers' style. But maybe just have those few wiser heads around the park just to help us get that confidence back. Let's not get it wrong. It's one defeat. We won the 2 previously to that. We lost the 2 previously to that. So you can't really moan at the results this season. 3rd in the league, semi-final of the cup still going to Villa, who I've already said Villa were a better away team when teams have got to come out and have a go at us. We know that. And into the next round of the cup, again, away from home at a championship team. But let's not take Brentford for granted. They're not going to be an easy team. 3rd in the championship, I think they are. They play some very good football.
Tom, let me get some comments in from all the people who are watching. Thanks for every comment that comes in here. I'm going to try and get through as many as I can and then get back to Tom. We need to attack. Southampton spent too much time at the back, says Jack. I agree, Jack. Rob, you're right. We need to calm down a little bit. I do think fans have got a bit hyper over it, but Ben Jackson says Chilwell misplaced 22 passes and completed around 40. Dave says we definitely need another striker. Sahar would fit the bill. I don't think Dave would get Sahar, to be fair with you. John Joe Shelby says Jamie. Interesting one, Jamie. Not one for me, but it's an interesting shout. Chris says we can't handle being pressed. Teams have learnt that since Man City tore us apart. Jason Mills says bottom line is we thought we were onto a home banker and got found wanting. To be fair, Tom's nodding as well. Nothing to do with ages of the player. Jack says Vardy is isolated up front, which he does feel isolated up front. Scooby Baz, I'm peeking over the top of that comment, but a big comment there from Scooby. Read that at your leisure, everybody. Too much for me to read out there. Mark Wright says if Chilwell goes, I'll drive him wherever he wants to go. So I want to keep Ben Chilwell. I want to keep this team together as long as possible. One of the Facebook users on the group, can't give you a name, says give George Hurst a chance, which is interesting. Maxine Johnson. Now, Maxine, this is Maxine's view. High expectations. We need to be realistic. I'm going to bring Tom in on that one, Tom. My expectations are now up here. I'm going to pretend. I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to act like we are a top 4 club. It took Man City fans a long time to realise that they are a top club. And they had many fans for many years saying, well, I remember playing, we would say, I remember playing Yeovil when Casper scored in the last minute and it was 1-1. I remember going to Barnsley away in League One. We can all do that. But I think that's dishonouring Convici a little bit, who said we're going to be a top 5 club within 5 years. So it's not wrong for fans to act like we want to be in that top 4. Do you agree or not?
I don't disagree with Phil. We all want to, be a top 4 club. That takes time. If you want,
but we are top 4, Tom.
Is in the table. I totally accept that. But as in the top club, as in where you want to be at, you got to be looking at the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, because of one thing: money, stadiums, growth, worldwide publicity. These are the things that push you to get more money to bring the better players through the front door. If we had that, we would be able to attract the bigger players. This season, there's no reason why we shouldn't be, having that as a higher expectation. But I'll go back to someone's point earlier when he said that we thought it was a home banker. The fans thought it was a home banker for me. That's why they started getting on the players' backs when it wasn't going right. That's where we need to wind ourselves back just a little bit and realise where we're at as a club, like I said, with all those young players. And he's sort of saying, it doesn't matter about the young players. It does. When you've got teams who've got a lot more experience, look at Southampton's strike force at the weekend. Shane Long, Danny Ings, 2 very experienced strikers against, I said Johnny Evans, and Ricardo on the right. But against Chilwell and Southampton didn't have the best of games of the weekend, and Danny Ings gave him the runaround at times. That's why I just think expectations, yes, the fans, we want to be challenged for that top four, and we have every right to be where we are at the moment from the season we've had. Looking at 5 defeats all season, I think it is now. But let's be realistic. To be doing that season in, season out, you've got to perform every week. And at the moment, we've seen that. The performances, some weeks we're going to be top draw, some weeks we can't be. You have to get the consistency at home. Let's look at the last few results. We lost to Liverpool, we drew in Norwich, and we've lost to Southampton. Forget the Wigan game, because we got lucky in that towards the end. Wigan really came on to us. And if the goal had stood, it'd been interesting last 10 minutes. But for the finishing week in, week out, that top season in, season out in that top four, it's not just about the team, it's about the structure of the football club. And we are growing. I'll give you that. We are growing as a football club. That to be in that top four, you have to have the stadium filled week in, week out, like Man U, Chelsea, Arsenal, as I mentioned. The revenue coming in from the foreign countries who want to sponsorship with these multi-million-pound contracts, because that's what played for these top players to come and play for your football clubs, as we'd seen before. And at the moment, we can't still get a top signing to come to Leicester. That says a lot to me about where the club is at. And it's all right signing kids all the time, but as we said, without that experience in the middle of the park or in the defence, you're going to be struggling to keep that up every single season, especially if bids come in like we've seen for the better players. Mahrez went, Kante went, Drinkwater went, but we always say he's class because he passed to Mahrez. He didn't realise he was on the wrong team at the weekend. But look, we're going in the right direction. And for me, I said it on Twitter yesterday. If someone had said to me at the beginning of the season, where would you finish? I would have taken 7th. I generally would with that team because of how young we are. To be where we are now, 3rd, just going into the second half of the season, into the semi-final of a cup where we've struggled the last couple of years to get to that far, and still in the FA Cup, hey, we can't moan. I don't get how we can grumble about it all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just, I guess I come at it slightly, Tom. I've spent 40 years watching Leicester and just accepting, we're just Leicester. But I'm trying to treat this a bit more like perhaps you might do business-wise and go, listen, we've won the Premier League, we've been in the Champions League, we're second most of this season, just dropped to 3rd. That's better than most of the so-called top. That's better than Spurs. That's better than Liverpool over the last few years in some ways. So let's act like it, Tom. Let's leave that debate because we could, there's a bit of me. I'm schizo on it because there's a bit of me goes, bloody hell, we're even in the Premier League. I'm lucky. But
let's talk about clappers.
No, we will. We will talk about clappers in a minute, Tom. But somebody's put a comment on which I wanted to put on the screen, and now I've got to find it. Here we go. It was what somebody has just commented and said. Here it is. I found it. Paul says, "Now listen, I never boo a player, and I think most fans wouldn't boo a player. But I'm going to be honest. I was pulling what little hair out I've got left on Saturday, whenever it was." When we are playing it around at the back in injury time, when we are losing, I don't know what to say, Tom. It's if you were playing Sunday League, you would be saying, "We've got 2 minutes, lads. Let's put it in the box. Let's get it up there."
Yeah.
What are we doing?
This is for me, we as a team and under Brendan struggles that a little bit, and he did at Liverpool, and Liverpool fans said the same. This is where, for me, you'd be going under Martin O'Neill, going back a few years now. If we were in that position, he'd be whacking Elliott up there. He'd be whacking Walshy up there and going, lump it in the box. Causing problems. We all knew they can't defend. We saw that the weekend at Southampton at times looked weak at the back. We could cause them problems. But we didn't cause them enough problems. That was our biggest problem. But I agree, with 5 minutes to go, you brought on Nacho. So you've got an extra striker anyway, who I thought, again, did all right when he came on. He took his goal well. Sadly, it was chalked off, but it was a nice little back heel to finish it. But I agree, these are the people where you go, get it in the box. You've got the crosses. Simple as that. You've got people on who can cross the ball. Ricardo can cross the ball. You've got people like Vardy who can play off the bigger men. When it drops to him, he'll take that chance. But for the last 5 minutes, I was with you. Just do something different, because I know Brendan's saying, you could feel the negativity when it groans about passing it around the back for the last 5 minutes. And I've just said, You don't want to get on the players' backs, but it will happen when it's that. In those situations when we are passing it around the back, but people do get frustrated where you're just thinking, get it in the box now. We're running out of time. And that last 30 seconds when it was silent due to Evans, Evans is silent due to Ricardo, and you're going, just get in the box, please. Someone just whip across and cause some problems. So, yeah, I agree on that point with Rodgers. He's a bit stubborn when it comes to anything. In some ways, that's where you go, you need a target man to come on. A Slimani, if that's the case. He's not at the football club at the moment, but that you've got one of them out on loan, or you have to go in the market and buy someone.
Right, here is that conversation. Mark Wright has said, just get back to basics. Clappers, lighting shows, it's like a pantomime at the King Power. It's embarrassing. Listen, Tom, I'm a big fan of the Clappers. I think they're part of the reason we had the Great Escape. They're part of the reason we went and won the Premier League, the Clappers. I think the light show's great, if I'm honest, Mark. I think it does add atmosphere. But people have got to use these things, Tom. Or what?
Well, I think we talked about this earlier, and I've said it before on Twitter. If you'd seen the first 15 minutes of the game, the crowd was completely behind Leicester. We were completely all over Southampton, and we didn't take our chances when we had them. And from where I was sitting at SK1, every single person around me and all the blocks going down the east and west stands were using the Clappers. As it went into the game and we started to get impatient, the Clappers slowed down. But like I said before, watching the kids love the Clappers. And everyone will say, I'll just put them in the family stand. No, there's kids all over the ground. If you want to use them, use them. If you don't want to use them, just put them under your seat. It's not harming everyone. As for the light show, I think it's a bit cringy, if I'm honest with you, Phil. It's not my cup of tea. That's not football to me, if I'm honest with you. Same as VAR. We can't talk about that tonight.
Listen, we've got Jack has joined the stream as well. We put a link out there. We can add more people in. So I'm going to bring Jack in. How are you, Jack?
You're right, Tom. Phil, you're okay?
Nice to have you on, Jack. Can we, Jack? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about transfers. Who do you think we need to go? Maybe not names, but if you've got names, great. But what sort of positions? Let's start with that. Do you think, Jack, we need to sign?
A big man up front. We're missing that key area where if Vardy's isolated, we've got nobody to help him out, sort of thing. Where if you put a big man up front with Vard, obviously you've got that definition where you can flick it on in it and play him in behind. And with Vardy, he's stuck up front. It's like pushing him out to the wing like a Aubameyang at Arsenal, where they're playing one up front, but he's going sideways rather than staying in the middle. And I think the formation's playing a key as well with certain players.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, Jack's right. I thought Vardy, he wasn't really. We were watching Vardy because he wasn't making many runs. He made 2 or 3 of his famous "I'm going to go at the fullback" when the ball's going out for a throw-in 50-yard sprints, which the fans love. But then there was times where we're bringing the ball forward and he wasn't really offering much. It's hard to criticise the top scorer in the Premier League, and I'm not really, but a bit isolated, Jack says.
Yeah, honestly, he was isolated at the weekend. I think Southampton got the tactics spot on. One, they made it go long quite often. At the moment, we haven't been doing that for this season. We haven't been going that long in behind it for him. It's all been neatly worked and then getting in behind around the corners, down, in through the fullbacks. If you look at the one chance he did have, the ball was just overplayed for Maddison in the second half. If not, he's probably in on goal and round the keeper. But he was isolated at the weekend and he didn't really have anyone to play up. I thought he looked better when Nacho came on again, if I'm honest with you, and that Nacho did give him a hand. But I think you're right, Jack. We do need a target man up there to just hold the play up sometimes when it's coming back and forth, and just to get Vardy, someone else thinking what's Vardy doing, then having 2 centre-halves just pinned on him all the time, and it makes it more life difficult.
Jack, I think most people know who I would say we need up top as a player. Who would you like?
We all know that. I don't know. Obviously, Slimani's out on loan, which we all know about. Obviously, would it work under Brendan Rodgers? Would it not? He's scoring goals for Monaco, but that's the French league, isn't it?
I've heard Slimani will never play for Leicester again.
Well,
for various reasons.
That's people's opinions, though, isn't it? And they never know what goes on behind closed doors. So that's just rumours and speculation and all that. So that's just like the January window.
Fair enough. So you would like a holding up big number 9?
Oh yeah, but I think Iheanacho has improved under Brendan. Like before, we thought, oh no, he ain't worth the 25 million what we paid. But obviously now he's coming on as a player. We've seen that he's given 110%. He actually wants to play, and I think with him and Vardy up front, it helps each other rather than just that one player.
We have
It
looked
provides
better.
quite a lot of room in that. So it proved it in the second half. Like, you know, against Southampton, Aston Villa, Norwich, you know, if you put him up front and play the ball to him, he's going to score. It proved it against Aston Villa last week.
Jack,
And it fell apart.
Jack, any other players or any positions you'd like to see Leicester sign?
Well, another left back would be great because I think Chilwell's overrated, to be honest, for what he is. I know he's 23 years old, but I've seen better players in that position. I just think we can strengthen. If we're going to make top 4 this season, we need to strengthen this window to make sure we are guaranteed that spot. And I think if we're going to sign anybody, it'd be nice to sign a winger because I don't think Harvey Barnes is at that level just yet. Damari Gray's an impact player, as we've seen, but you know, I'd like to see Giroud, but obviously Inter Milan's interested. But obviously Giroud's that sort of player who gets stuck in, win the headers, everything that I'd like in a player.
Yeah,
Tom, if he'd be interested in coming to a club like us.
It could. Well, we're top 14. Again, this is one of those moments where if you're ever going to attract players, it's easier to do it when you're sat in the top 4 of the Premier League, hopefully getting into the Champions League, Tom. You know I'm going to say Mitrovic because I believe he's available. And he's not, he is a big player, but he's not massive and he does hold the ball up.
Yeah, he's a good little player. I mean, I'm going to chuck a name in there and people are going to say he's not a big player, but to be honest, he does a good job for Bournemouth. That Callum Wilson, mate. I think Callum Wilson is a great little player to go up front with Vardy. I wouldn't have said that a few years back. Everyone knows my opinion. I thought he was overrated at the time, but I think over the last couple of years, he's come on leaps and bounds from being just that quick striker. He holds the ball up well. His movement off the ball got him into the England team because he knew where to run. So he's another player that could come in. There's 3 good strikers. Giroud's a good striker, and Mitrovic. We all know what they can offer. It's force and power up there to cause havoc.
Jack, I do want to talk about Mark Albrighton. What are your views on Mark Albrighton, Jack?
Fantastic player. He's 100%. His heart's like massive, and like, you know, he's great. Like, since he came from Villa, which obviously, you know, it's a bargain really, and they got rid of him on a free. And obviously, when I seen him like play for Villa over them years, and I thought, what a fantastic player. I thought if he ever comes available, I'd have him at the club. But I think he's been great. He's always gave 110% for Leicester. But I think the Wigan game, he wasn't at his best. But you get that in every player. They're not the best at some games, but some games you can think, oh yeah, they're fantastic. It's like Yuri Tillemans, put him into perspective. Last season, he was fantastic on loan, yeah. This season, I just think he's not given as much as we've seen. We've seen glimpses this season of him, but not as much as we did last season. I think whether that's tiredness or whatever, or he's not just there yet, but he will get there because he's a superb player. But I think if we can strengthen the midfield, like with an experienced head, as you said, that'd be a great fit to help out the younger players and push them on.
Yeah. Tom, Raj has just put Albrighton is a bit like Milner for Liverpool. Always puts a shift in. And Milner, again, very underrated for Liverpool. But I just think Albrighton should be playing, Tom.
I said it earlier, Phil. I think if you look at the Villa game in the cup the other night, when he came on, what was the first thing he did? He run, he nicked the ball and nearly sent Vardy away. And Villa started panicking when he got on the pitch because they knew they were going to get hassled for it this time. And if you look at it once again, he came on the pitch and we stepped up probably 10 yards. All the players started lifting the game again because for some reason when Albrighton plays, everyone else seems to play better around him because they know they're going to have to put that extra work rate in because he's doing it. And if they don't, they're the ones who are going to get spotted out for it. He is the James Milner of Leicester City, if you're going to say it like that, because he's the same kind of age. He's a journeyman in some ways. Okay, he's come from Villa to us, and Milner's gone around a few clubs at the ages. But he's a decent all-round footballer. I think at the Villa game the other night, we all said it. He got the ball on the wing. He knocked it past his man, cut inside, and somehow managed to wrap his foot around the ball and put it right onto the penalty spot. I'm like, there's not many players in that league who can whip a ball in like he can on the movement. So give him a chance. I'm sorry, I love Barnes, and I think he's going to be a good player in the future. But at the moment, the way they are at the moment, I think we need to go to Burnley with a bit of experience, set up with Fuchs and Albrighton on the left, Ricardo and Perez on the right. So you've got your experience down there. And then it's all about who plays in that midfield for me. For me, I'd bring Mendy straight back into that team for the Burnley game. And I think, look, Chowder did all right, but he looked very out of his depth at times when he got hassled on the ball. There was 2 times in the second half where he got caught out trying to dribble through players where, in theory, Ndidi just looks for the simple pass. That's what makes Ndidi great, because he wins it back and he looks for a 5 to 10 yard pass and goes, Tillemans, Maddison, you go and play the game for me. I'll sweep up, I'll tidy up and do all the dirty work. You two set up the tone for the rest of the boys. And I just think Chowdhury hasn't got that in his game at the moment. But Brendan Rodgers said it himself before that the one thing that let Chowdhury down is his ability to pass the ball, what he's getting better at. But at the moment, I think a wise old head like Mendy, who's, okay, not played lots for us, but when he has played this season, he hasn't done bad.
Jack, let's look forward quickly to Burnley at the weekend. Thoughts on that? Score predictions, first goal scorer, stuff like
that? Well, actually, it'd be a tough game because Burnley's not on the greatest of form at the minute, are they? So it's just, where do you look at that? Will they think, oh, they'll look at Leicester at the Southampton game and think, oh, we can definitely take on Leicester. But in our minds as Leicester fans, we want to go to Turf Moor, turn up this time and actually get the 3 points. And I think if we can play our A game rather than our B game, what we did on Saturday, I think we could definitely get maybe 2 or 3 goals. And I think Vardy will score first. So I'd say 3-1.
Jack, it's been great having you on. I think you bang on right with Burnley, because we went to Newcastle and got 3. We went to West Ham and won. There's no reason to fear Burnley. Southampton and the Norwich game and the Man City, they've been a bit of a blip at home. But thanks for joining us, Jack. Will you come again?
Yeah, I'll come again. Don't worry. Just ask me to come on and I'll be there. So
thanks for coming. That's what we need. We want more fans just like Jack to come on and join me, join Tom, give us our views. Tom, come on then. After you've had your say on Burnley, I'm going to let you go and go through all the fans' comments and score predictions. So people stay around for the end. I'll get as many comments on screen as possible. Tom, Burnley.
It's an away game. We're better away from home. For some reason, we seem to win. Like I said earlier, yeah, we lost at the weekend, but before that, we beat West Ham. Okay, we beat a poor Newcastle that gifted us 2 goals, but still in there did a professional job. And I don't see anything other than a 2-0 win, 2-3-0 win for us at the weekend. I really do. Burnley, I know you just said they're going to come out fighting. I accept that. But their fans are going to expect to come out and attack. And if they do that against us, we can pick them off and hopefully get in behind them. We've seen what Vardy did to them early in the season when their fans riled him up. So hopefully the Burnley fans have got a few chants about Vardy's wife for the weekend, because that seems to work. If away fans or home fans want to sing about Vardy's wife, please do it. It makes Vardy's life a lot easier for scoring goals. But yeah, I do feel we can go there and get the results at the weekend. Like I said, we're away from home for some reason at the moment. It's not for some reason. Teams have to come at us, and when they do that, we seem to be a better team to pick them off. So 2-0 win, and I'm going to go for Nacho to score.
Would you like to see Nacho start then, Tom?
I'd like to see Vardy and Nacho start. I'd like him to change it a bit. If I'm honest here, I'd go to a 4-3-1-2, and I'd play Maddison in behind the front 2. Let Maddison have a bit of a role. Play Tillemans, Mendy, and Pratt in the centre. Fuchs at left back, Chilwell, Ricardo at right back. Let them 2 bond on as much as they want. Probably more Ricardo than Fuchs, but just give that, give Maddison a bit more of a free role to try and make things happen, with a 3 behind him, tidying it all up. And let's see what Nacho and Vardy can do against a very poor defence. We've seen that from Burnley. The results of the weekend, the last few weeks, have conceded goals for fun. So let's go put a bit of pressure on them. Let's not go there and just think we'll put Vardy up front and hope that we can get a goal from somewhere. It's going to give them something to think about their back four, because at the moment they don't look like Villa won 2-1 at their place on New Year's Day. So it shows you how poor they are if Villa can go there and win. So we can go and get a result for me.
Tom, where was Christian Fuchs on Saturday? Not even in the squad.
I don't know if it's down to he's played a lot of games in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks. To me and you, that doesn't seem much, but at his age, I suppose he had started the last 3 games.
But he's a great utility player, Tom, to have on the bench. He can play centre half, he can play in a 3, he can play in a 2 at the back, he can play full back. It just seems strange that he wasn't in the squad.
Yeah, totally agree on that. I think if you look at it also, though, it shows you how much Rangers rate Benkovic to bring him onto the bench as the backup centre half. He had Justin as well. So if you look at it, he probably had his two there because he knows that Justin can play left back or right back. And he then had Benkovic who can play centre half. So he doesn't really then have to worry too much about having an extra player on the fence, what frees him up to have the striker. Again, it was a shame that Fuchs on there, but we always know Fuchs ain't going to be one sitting around crying. He'll just get on with it and be back ready for the weekend when he's needed. And I think this weekend, we've had a good rest. I know people are going to say professional game fixtures. We've had a good rest now going into this game on Sunday, so there should be no excuses from anyone saying about tiredness going into it for me.
Tom, don't get me started on the tiredness thing. You, like me, what time do you start work this morning?
I was out the house for 6:30 and I got back home at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, and what are you doing tomorrow?
Back at the house for 6
and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Yeah,
exactly.
Do you know these? I know they're highly trained sports stars, but I'm tired. For a fan who has to pay his hard-earned money to go and watch it, it's a hard one to swallow. To say prima donna footballers are a bit tired.
Right. Let's go back to the olden days when they had to play on big sodden soaking pitches, and then I don't expect players to be tired. But on these bowling greens of a pitch nowadays, there should be no excuses really for tiredness in them.
Yeah, and I know people will say it and they'll call me an old codger, but I struggle with it like you. I started at about 7 this morning and we're still doing this, whether you call this work or just fun, I don't know. But it's a long day.
Exactly.
So anyway.
You don't get paid the millions of pounds, Phil.
Not even millions of pence. Listen, Tom, thanks for coming on as ever. I'm going to go through all the fans' comments now and put them on screen. So see you soon.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Cheers, Tom. Thanks so much for Tom coming into tonight's fan zone as ever. I did promise I'm going to go through all your comments, as many as I can get on screen there. David Cross says we need a win badly this time. Stop getting on the team's back. It doesn't help 1 minute. I agree with you. Jamie is saying let's go for a 3-5-2 formation. Bailey says 4-0. I can see Brendan wanting us to change our recent form and get back to 3 points. With Tielemans the first goal. That's great. This is obviously Jack saying, thanks for having me on. I will definitely come on again. Thanks, Jack. Raj is saying, I'm with Tom. Get Body and Nacho up top and Mendy in for Hamza. Raj is definitely agreeing with Tom. Jake, good evening, Jake. How are you? Says, let's have a go at Burnley. Some negative football recently. So let's hope we go there and show why we're third in the league. Thanks for that, Jake. Jack says, thanks for having me on. Just read that one, Jack, but this one's got your picture on. Chris says you're an old codger. I certainly am, Chris. Just like you, mate. A pair of old codgers grumbling away at the football. These young footballers don't know they're born, do they, Chris? We do a hard day's work. Bless us. Anyway, Chris says it's going to happen. Every team has their off days. Played a lot of games recently, but hopefully come back at Burnley with a 3-0 win. Sports, sir. Good evening to you, Josh, watching over on YouTube. Go and follow Sportser on his YouTube channel. He's been doing a few videos for us on our Leicester Fan TV YouTube channel. Says 3-1 win on Sunday. Sportser, Josh, who do you think is going to score the first goal, please? Foxer, good evening. Hi, guys. Love the badge, by the way, Foxer. Love a bit of mid-80s badge work. Vardy and Nacho must play together, says Adam Tucker. Yes. And then Adam checks his own spelling. Thank you, Grammar Police, for getting that one right. I don't mind bringing Todd Cantwell to Leicester. Do you agree with what Josh is saying there? You'll have to forgive me. Todd Cantwell, it's not ringing any bells with me. Gray says, sorry for joining late. We should have expected Saints would come hard at us. I think so. Chris is saying, I'll think of you and them when I'm on my cruise in a couple of... Chris, I saw you were going on a cruise. I've seen your tickets. You're making us all well gel, as the youngsters would say now. Ivan, good evening, Ivan. Watching all the way from Sierra Leone. Ivan, I've seen some of your stuff. Thanks for keep sharing the photos, etc. Ivan, what do you think about the Burnley game? Corey is saying Leicester are going to win 4-0. Corey, who do you think is going to score the first goal, please? Jack Marsden is shouting about Chris Wood. I don't think Chris Wood would come back to Leicester, to be fair to you. for various reasons. Sports has confirmed who his first goal scorer is. Thanks, Josh. That is Kelechi Iheanacho, he says, would be it. Loads and loads of comments tonight. Thank you all for all your comments. And thank you to Jack for joining us. First time Jack's come on in. Tom, regular Tom, has been on. But listen, we want more of your fans' views. We want to get more people on video for our live shows. We're going to be doing a lot more live shows across platforms like this tonight. We have been live on to YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, please press the subscribe button. If you are on Facebook, please like and share this video. And if you are watching on Periscope or Twitter, if you can retweet this and give us a little love heart, that would be absolutely top notch and top banana. My name is Phil. Thank you to all these sponsors. Don't forget, we've got a new competition I should be telling you about, which has gone out on Facebook and Twitter today. Our pals at Pink Vehicle Leasing have given us you can't buy these anymore. These are not for sale in the club shop. We've got still some left in the cupboard to give away. Brand new with tags. I've not been wearing it. It is brand new. If you want to win that, check the posts. It's a like and reshare when you see the posts out on Facebook and Twitter. So get those in. Listen, third in the league, semi-finals of the cup. The world is great for Leicester fans. Back the lads. Pick the clappers up. Let's have a bit of this. Let's pick the clappers up. Let's make some noise at the next home game. Let's back the lads. The away support is always very, very good, and I'm sure it will carry on. My name is Phil. This is and has been the Leicester City, the Leicester Fan TV show. I'll see you very, very soon. Cheers for joining me. Thanks for all your comments. I appreciate them all. Come on, that's the end of the show. It's time to go. Down the pub time. See you next time.